identity of a superhero, or even allow monsters to walk among men. You never know what's behind the mask until it's taken off, but that's the best part of Halloween. No one is going to take off anyone's mask. There is no gang of teenagers with their talking dog there to strip away my disguise and reveal the truth underneath. No. This is reality. And on Halloween, I'm perfectly able to join. No. To hide in plain sight. Of course, wearing a mask has its own special meaning for me. I am not an actor, superhero, or even a monster. Well, in the fictional terms, at least, no. I simply use a mask as a means of entry. Any mask works, really, so long as it covers my face. I manage to use a different one every year. All I need to do is walk the streets of my suburban neighborhood, weave my way through various decorations, and dodge packs of trick-or-treaters until I hear the familiar blaring of loud music, like a sailor to a siren at sea. I'm drawn to the music, to the party that emanates from it. Yes, this is why Halloween is wonderful. No one seems to ever ask questions at the door to a Halloween party. All I really need to do is knock and wave when the door opens. The mask just makes people assume I'm there for the party. Hell, sometimes people just leave their front doors wide open, allowing even easier access to our home. On Halloween, no one gives a second glance towards a masked man making his way through their midst, which is what makes my hobby oh so fun. They are completely oblivious. As I approached their food, they continued to chatter and gossip as I add my own secret ingredient to their bowl of punch. They continue to dance and play as I stab small, sharp needles into their chocolate and sweets. It's not until their first friend dropped to the floor, either choking on my poison or coughing up bloody needles, that people start to panic. It is the same every year. As soon as I leave the party and hear the chaos rising behind me, an unstoppable grin forms under my mask. Screams of terror are such a pleasant noise for such a pleasant holiday. This next one is called Neighbors. Okay. So, this week, I moved into a new house. The house itself is lovely. 2 stories, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a fenced-in backyard, and a big kitchen. The tree in the front yard is tall and strong and does a fine job of blocking my living room window from the street. The water pressure is fabulous, the closets are large, and the wood floors are new. The only problem I've had so far is that my neighbors are rather loud. Our houses connect on one side, so we share a living room, bedroom, and kitchen wall. All day long, I can hear them banging around their kitchen, watching loud movies, talking, and their small child crying. It's a bit tiring, but nothing I can't live with, I suppose. I'm sorry about this pause. I was looking for something. Now to get directly to the thing that really concerns me. It started when I was in the shower this morning. I usually like to have music playing while I shower, but today I decided I'd rather enjoy the silence. The activity was fairly uneventful. Until, as I was in the middle of washing my hair, I heard my neighbors talking on the other side of the wall. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but it sounded strange to me. It seemed that they were mumbling something, whispering, and occasionally laughing quietly. But I couldn't figure out how I could hear them if they were evidently speaking quietly. I thought they must be standing absurdly close to their side of the wall in order to be so audible in the midst of my shower. I didn't think too much of this incident until I was leaving for work an hour later. As I started to open my car door, I turned back to the house, feeling like I'd forgotten something. As I looked up at my bedroom window and realized that the neighbor's house shares a wall on the opposite side of the house from the bathroom. On the other side of the bathroom lies my bedroom closet. Okay, guys. I'm gonna read 2 variations of this pasta. What is called? This is the Chuck E. Cheese one that my good man's David put me onto. He put me onto one. I don't really know if it's this one, but this one is called Where a Kid Can Be a Kid. When I was a child, my father owned a janitorial company that worked almost every night at our local showbiz place, Chuck E. Cheese's. He would often bring me to work with him so I could play all of the arcade games without having to wait in line. He'd even spark up the towering animatronics and let me watch them play their happy birthday songs and other quaint jingles. It was so much fun, until the curtains closed and it went dark. Part of me hated not being able to see the fake animals, especially the wolf and big gorilla playing the keyboard. It would get so dark once all of those circus lights stopped undulating. But knowing they were hiding behind the curtains severely spooked me. Another part of me was glad I couldn't see them, with their large plastic grins, bulging eyes, and blankless stares that trapped the false joy of their act. Anything I can remain that happy in the dark, imprisoned by crimson drapes, and frozen in time until the puppeteer presses go, is just sinister in nature. Even the empty arcade, full of fantastic memories of the day past, sits dark, quiet, and abandoned. There is something very unsettling about a place that can bequeath equal parts joy and dread when the sun sets and the doors are locked. I've long since taken over my father's company, and we still hold the contract for this haunted place. Tonight is the first time I brought my young son with me so he can enjoy the arcade like I once did. My hope is that when my son finally builds up the courage to pull back the curtain to view those plastic beasts, he isn't greeted with the same malevolent stare that looked down unnaturally upon me. So that was the first variation, and honestly, okay. I don't know how to feel about it. Well, guys, just, This isn't what I'm looking for, but okay. So, apparently that's going to be the only variation for the night. Because I can't find the other one. And thank you. I'm glad you thought it was cool. But we all know it was kinda It was kinda Okay, guys. So you've heard it here, and you've heard it now. I have one more to do. Okay, is this it? Is this it? I think this is it. Oh my god, I think I found it. I might have found it. I might be lying, but I might have found it, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Woot! David, don't make that face. Don't do that. I'm not leaving yet. That face. This one is called The Real Chuck E. Cheese. Have you ever thought that there was something the creators of Chuck E. Cheese were hiding from us all? Or have you ever found something to be off about the place? Even the creepy robotic mascots that danced on stage. I didn't until I found out the truth about Chuck E. Cheese. It all began on the first time I had ever visited the place. I was around the age of 5 or 6, so I, of course, was pretty ecstatic to go. Seeing all those commercials of kids eating pizza and running around without a care in the world, on arcade games and on the play structure made me almost get down on my hands and knees to plead and beg my mom to take me. After finally getting her to break, she took me. I was the happiest kid in the whole world. My mom drove me over just a few hours before evening, so maybe around 4:30 or so. I almost knocked over the woman at the door who gave you a little stamp on your hand, running ahead of my mom and bursting through the doors like a maniac child. Eventually, I was stamped and literally screeching as I ran around to all the games and play sets. After a bit, I stumbled on over to the game. Like whack-a-mole, but with sharks. Right by the staff-only room. One shark whacking minute later, I had won the game. Before I could squeal in success and collect my tickets, my ears caught the sound of something very strange going on near the staff-only room. I could hear someone say, "Test number 15 on mutated rat results in angered behaviors such as throwing desks and scientists at the wall." I then began to wonder what in the world they could be talking about. Maybe they were making a new game. Being so young, I had no idea at all what was actually going on in there. Being curious and feeling a bit interested, I pressed myself against the door and listened in as carefully as a 6-year-old could. I could hear them snapping at each other. Things like, "What are we going to do with this beast?" and "Get it away from me." A mumbled shout poured over whoever was in there and replied with a louder, "We can't just kill that thing. It's a beast version of our mascot." Talking stopped. I blinked for a second and pressed myself closer to the door. I quickly realized that this was a very bad mistake. As the door opened for my weight against it, I slipped in from leaning on the door to falling face flat on the ground of the staff room. Immediately, footsteps trampled over to me, hands grabbing at my arms. I was out like a light in a few seconds. And I still don't know what the hell they did to do that. I woke up slowly, my eyes feeling heavy and my body feeling weak in some kind of interrogation room. A tall man with a serious expression, wearing the cleanest white lab coat I'd ever seen, began walking towards me, out of the blue. Like he knew I'd be awake. Like he knew I was awake. His voice was deep, and it was scratchy from what I could tell when he began to speak.